Welcome back, friends, to what I guess you could consider is the announcement video for what I'm going to be playing next, which is God of War 2018. So excited to be getting into that because I've heard nothing but amazing things. A lot of people say it's one of the best games ever made, and obviously the sequel to that just came out recently with Ragnarok. So can't wait to jump into it. But before I did that, I wanted to get familiarized with the story and the character of Kratos, because from my own looking that I did, it seems that you don't really need to play the other games beforehand, but it's kind of good to know a little bit about his story and how he got to this point in the 2018 game. And with some very generous help, I was able to find a couple videos here, recap videos for the story. So that's what I'm going to be watching and reacting to here with you all. And if these videos happen to miss anything that you think might be important to know before jumping into the 2018 game, definitely feel free to let me know about that. Obviously, stay away from any sort of spoilers for the 2018 game or Ragnarok for that matter. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it.
Hello and welcome to PlayStation Grenade. If you've clicked on this video, it's most likely because you're about to play the next entry in the God of War series.
What do you know?
It may have been quite a while since you last played a God of War title, and the story may be a bit hazy, so I thought now is a great time to
Look
get
at those
up to date
beautiful
on everything Kratos has
old
been up to
graphics
through his gore-filled life. So if you're ready, let's do this. Let's pick up the story when Zeus, the king of the gods, learns of a prophecy which will see him killed by a mere mortal man. The prophecy also describes the distinctive markings his murderer possesses. In fear of this marked warrior, Zeus informs his eldest children Ares and Athena, who also happen to be the god and goddess of war, and tasks them with tracking down and ending this potential threat.
Kratos
Whilst
kills
pillaging and
Zeus?
destroying the land,
What a boss.
Ares discovers a small Spartan boy with extremely distinctive birthmarks and attempts to capture him. That boy is not Kratos, it's his younger brother Deimos. Kratos tries his utmost to protect his brother, but he's no match for the god of war Ares, and is bitch slapped into submission. Luckily
Nice.
for Kratos, Athena persuades her brother to leave Kratos alive, because not only is she the goddess of warfare, but she's the goddess of wisdom too. So her brother agrees, and Kratos is forced to watch on as his brother is taken away. Fueled
Already
by
a
his
deep
failure
story.
to protect his younger brother, Kratos honors Deimos through a full body tattoo mimicking his brother's birthmarks. Over time, Kratos became a member of the Spartan army, hoping to one day avenge his little bro. His rage and lack of mercy saw him ascend the Spartan ranks. Eventually, he married Lysandra, and the two had a daughter named Calliope. He finally became a Spartan captain after recovering a mysterious
As long as it's
healing
not
element known as
Melisandre.
Ambrosia in a painstaking battle with Ulrich and the barbarians. He used this ambrosia to save his daughter, who was moments away from death due to a plague ravishing the lands. Kratos and his thirst for war saw the Spartan army annihilate all opposition until the day the barbarians returned, led once again by Ulrich. The barbarian hordes easily overpowered and massacred the Spartans, and all Ulrich needed to do was kill the defeated Kratos. With his final breath, Kratos called to the god of war Ares and offered his life in return for victory.
Ares! Destroy my enemies, and my life is yours.
Seeing this as an opportunity to build the ultimate warrior and disciple, Ares instantly slaughters the barbarian hordes and binds Kratos to the Blades of Chaos, a constant reminder of his pledge to the god of war.
Name is pretty
continued
epic.
to murder and pillage in the name of Ares and slowly lost his humanity. Only his love for his wife and daughter prevented Kratos from becoming the ultimate weapon of war Ares desired. So knowing this, Ares sent Kratos to destroy a temple created to honor Athena. The village oracle attempts to stop him, but consumed by rage and ambition, Kratos massacres all inhabitants. But the final two victims will haunt him for the rest of his life. Ares had sent
Shoot, man.
Kratos, his wife and child, to that temple in the hopes he would murder the only things keeping his humanity alive, and thus becoming the ultimate weapon. Kratos,
Jeez,
now
man.
devastated, finally realized he could no longer serve Ares and vows revenge for the murder of his family. The Oracle curses
It's a
Kratos
well-edited
to wear
video.
the ashes of his murdered wife and daughter for the rest of his life, leading to his unwanted nickname, the Ghost of Sparta. Upon breaking his vow to Ares, Kratos is captured and tormented by the Furies. The Furies were effectively Oath Keepers who punished anyone who broke a vow or promise. The three Furies kept Kratos in a dreamlike state, almost wiping his memories completely. Luckily for Kratos, Orcos, who physically holds broken promises on his body in these disgusting parasite-like tumors, saw the injustice of his pledge to Ares and assists him. The Ghost of Sparta learns the only way to be freed is to kill the three Furies, which he does with surprising ease.
Brutal, man.
With the job done, Orcos reveals that
Man's a
Kratos must
beast.
kill one last person to truly free himself from the Oath, Orcos himself. As he's the son of the Furies, all the Oaths were transferred over to him. Kratos, slightly reluctant, does the dirty deed.
The truth of the murder he committed, the slaughter of his wife and child, the carnage forged from his relentless ambition.
Yes, indeed, Kratos' memories fully return, and once again, he is ravaged by the death of his wife and child. Poor guy just can't catch a break. Now fueled by a desire to remove his nightmares,
I can
Kratos
see why people
meets
love these
Persephone,
games.
the queen of the underworld, who offers the Ghost of Sparta a better alternative, seeing his daughter again. But that comes with a caveat: he must give up all his godlike powers, which Kratos agrees to. Kratos reunites with his daughter, but the happiness is short-lived. Persephone reveals she has unleashed Atlas, a hulking great titan who will destroy the pillar that cradles the earth, killing all mankind and the gods of Olympus. Of course, Kratos can't stand for that and gives up his life with his daughter, and once again goes on the warpath against Persephone and Atlas. Due to Atlas's size, Kratos opts to chain him to the upper edges of the underworld, whilst he returns to finish Persephone.
Man, if we get to
As
fight
she
people
dies,
like that,
her
just
body
massive
explodes and the
creatures
resulting force
in the
destroys
28
pillar.
in the
Luckily,
2018 game, that'll
Atlas
be
is
great.
still chained into place and now holds the world on his shoulders for the rest of time. Kratos once again commits himself to serving the gods in the hopes of having his memories removed, but after a decade of servitude, he is a little pissed off to say the least, and lets the gods know.
10 years, Athena. I have faithfully served the gods for 10 years. When will you relieve me of these nightmares?
Athena hears his calls and proclaims that if Kratos can kill Ares, the god of war, she will take his nightmares away. Kratos
Full
is more
circle
than happy
moment.
to oblige. Gaining revenge and losing his visions are all he has ever wanted, so off he trots to Athens to face Ares and his army. Kratos meets the local oracle, who reveals the only way to defeat a god is through a mystical item known as Pandora's box, which so happens to be chained to another great hulking titan called Kronos. Kratos does what Kratos does and murders his way to Pandora's box, and just before he's about to open it, Ares, who feels a disturbance in the Force, sorry, wrong franchise, Ares senses Kratos and hurls a pillar a few thousand miles away, impaling Kratos almost touching distance away from the artifact he needs to kill
my
Ares. Death
gosh.
is only the beginning for Kratos. After a long journey through the underworld, he gets back to Athens to finally open Pandora's box and becomes Mega Kratos, a huge version of himself, and fights Ares.
Let's go,
Ares
level
uses
up.
powerful memories of Kratos killing his own family to gain the edge in battle, but Kratos, driven by revenge, bests him and kills the god of war. Kratos, who has now fulfilled his vow of vengeance, once again asks for his memories to be removed, but Athena is having none of it.
No man, no god could ever forget the terrible deeds you have done.
A broken and frankly devastated Kratos
Oh, that's messed
takes
up.
himself to the highest mountain in all of Greece. The Ghost of Sparta throws himself to his certain death, but the gods had a greater vision for his future and ascend him to another level.
You will not die this day, Kratos.
From that moment on,
Man, just
Kratos
cursed.
became
The new god of war.
Hey, epic title
Sat
drop.
on his new throne, Kratos
Even
has
just
a
watching
vision
this
and travels
recap,
to the
I'm so
temple of
invested in the
Poseidon
story.
to seek answers.
This is good
Once
stuff.
there, he finds his mother dying, who reveals his brother Deimos is still alive and is being held captive by Thanatos, the god of death. And with that, Kratos' mama dies. Now back in Sparta, Kratos battles his younger self and reclaims his Spartan army from the pre-God of War days. The God of War goes on yet another murder spree and locates the gateway to Death's domain. Here, we finally see Deimos, who has the sexiest beard I've seen in a long time, and once freed, Deimos reveals his anger for Kratos is the only thing that kept him alive, and attempts to kill his brother. During the fight between the brothers, Thanatos takes Deimos away as he wants to be the one who kills him, but just in time, Kratos arrives and saves his brother.
This is
That
tense.
becomes the catalyst for the two to work together, and the brothers take down the god of death, but at the cost of Deimos' life.
Too many
Kratos
bad
once again
gods.
has lost his family and carries his brother to his final resting place and ponders his actions, to which the Gravedigger calls Kratos
Death, the destroyer of worlds.
Athena appears once again and attempts to reward Kratos for his deeds. As he has no ties to the mortal world, after his daughter, wife, brother and mother are all dead, he can now become a full-fledged god.
Lost
Kratos shocks
everything.
everyone and turns down the offer and remarks,
The gods will pay for this.
Yeah, I love it. Can't blame him.
with his Spartan army at his back, Kratos wages war on pretty much anyone he can to spread the glory of Sparta. The gods watching on are becoming nervous of his actions, and Athena begs Kratos to stop before he faces the wrath of the gods. Kratos turns his back on Athena both physically and metaphorically and joins his army in Rhodes, but suddenly a portion of his powers are stolen by this mythical bird
Man's
and given
big.
to the Colossus of Rhodes. The two behemoths battle on, and out of nowhere the king of the gods, Zeus, throws down the blades of Olympus, the most powerful weapon in existence. The only downside is that Kratos must infuse his last remaining godly powers into the weapon to defeat the Colossus of Rhodes. It worked surprisingly well, and as he defeats the Colossus, the flailing arm crushes Kratos, causing him to drop the sword. Kratos is now moments away from death and must regain the sword to become his immortal self again. Lo and behold, the mythical bird flying around was in fact Zeus, who reveals this whole thing was a trick to kill Kratos. So Zeus shoves the sword
Whoa, what a
straight through
twist.
Kratos, killing him. Of course, in Greek myth, death doesn't really mean much, and as Kratos is pulled into the underworld, he is rescued by another titan, Gaia. Gaia and Kratos hatch a plot to defeat Zeus by using the Loom of Fate, which effectively is a time machine. He ventures to the island of creation.
This is a
and defeats
complex
countless
story.
foes and finally locates the loom and attempts to change his fate. Arriving back in time at the moment he was
Nasty.
killed by Zeus, Kratos takes the blade of Olympus, and the two fight to the death. Just as Kratos is about to land the killing blow, Athena jumps in the way and is killed by Kratos. In her last words, she reveals,
Zeus is Olympus.
meaning that if Zeus dies, Olympus will fall and all the gods will perish. But she isn't done there.
No son should destroy his own father.
Yeah, Kratos is the son of Zeus. Who'd have
What
thunk it?
the heck? This is a wild story, man.
No father.
Kratos is not flustered by the revelations and once again uses the Loom of Fate to build his army, filling it with titans from the past. A huge war breaks out as the titans attempt to climb Mount Olympus. A key battle is won when Gaia and Kratos defeat Poseidon, but actually flood the entire world in the process. Once atop of the mountain, Zeus lays in wait and knocks Gaia and Kratos to their death. Gaia manages to hold on, but refuses to help Kratos, revealing herself to be just as untrustworthy as those pesky
Impressive
gods.
visuals,
Now
honestly,
dead,
for it being as old as it is.
Kratos is in the underworld for the 5th time, but this time he defeats Hades, the god of the underworld. Whilst here, Kratos learns how to defeat Zeus, and it's once again by using Pandora's box. But this time though, it's locked behind the flames of Olympus, which can only be extinguished by its namesake Pandora. Once Pandora is located, Kratos' humanity finally kicks in again, and he sees her like a daughter he lost. When the moment arrives for Pandora to sacrifice herself to extinguish the flames of Olympus, Kratos won't allow it. Eventually,
What a
she
good
does
guy.
break free, but another god stands in her way, Zeus. Father and son Zeus and Kratos fight, which is punctuated with Pandora attempting to complete her task in life. Her last-ditch attempt is foiled by Kratos, who refuses to lose another daughter. But one final insult from his dad
Don't fail her like you failed your family.
puts things into motion which can never be undone. After waking, Kratos opens Pandora's box to reveal, well, nothing. It's empty. This anticlimax is taken to the next level as Kratos and Zeus stand over the now ruined, flooded and destroyed world they have created.
Face me, father. It is time to end this.
This is so much to take in. I'm glad there's 2 videos I'm watching.
Remember Gaia? Well, she managed to hold on and finally reaches the summit again and attempts to kill both Zeus and Kratos. During the scuffle, both gods fall into Gaia's chest and fight next to her heart. In the final moments, Kratos kills both his father and Gaia by impaling their hearts simultaneously.
Dang, 2 for
Kratos
1.
has now defeated all the gods and all the titans. The Greek pantheon is no more. But wait, Zeus somehow transcended his body, and his spirit form attempts to kill Kratos once again, using a mixture of fear, violence, and those memories Kratos hates so much. But after 10 years of this living nightmare, Kratos is able to knock Zeus's spirit back into his body, and then beats him to death in a lovely touching father-son moment. Athena arrives
One way
in
to
her
put it.
new ascended form and gives us one last revelation. Pandora's box did actually contain something. It contained evils such as fear, which enveloped the gods, but there was also an even more powerful weapon inside that box. And that was hope, which sounds ridiculous, but helped Kratos achieve his ambitions to defeat the gods of Olympus.
Very Disney moment
Athena
right there.
asked for hope to be returned to her so she could give it to mankind. But Kratos, looking at the devastation around him, refuses her offer and does this instead.
So many twists and turns, bro.
An angered Athena removes the sword and leaves Kratos to die his final death. The story isn't quite over yet though, as Kratos' body is no longer here and a trail of blood leads over the cliff edge. You could call it a cliffhanger ending. See what I did there? Sorry. We now know that in 2018, the god of war has moved into Norse myth, in which Kratos becomes a dad again. But this time, he has a
I should pause it right there, just because I don't want to see any footage. I did know that part, that there's like another little kid involved, but we will move on to the next video. That first one was wild though. So many twists and turns in just a few minutes, but shout out to whoever edited that video because it was very well done. Okay, we got the next video coming up here called God of War Original Saga Story Summary, what you need to know. And I just skipped the little intro thing because they're just talking about the new game then, which is the 2018 game, so figured I didn't need to see clips from that. But let's go ahead and jump into the next one. I assume it's going to cover a lot of the same stuff, but it'll be good regardless to just kind of let things process.
Begins with the primordials, the very first beings to come into existence, fighting for control of their creation, Earth. This war ravished the world, and eventually the three Furies were born from the rage and power of the battle. The Furies were then tasked to honor oaths between the various beings of Earth. Their first victim was the Hecatoncheires, Aegeon, who had broken an oath to one of the first gods, Zeus. To make an example of Aegeon, the Furies petrify his body into the prison of the damned for anyone who dared to break an oath in the future. Eventually, the Furies began to take guidance from the god of war, Ares, who convinced them to join him in a siege on Olympus. Believing their forces to be too weak, the queen of the Furies, Alecto, birthed a son with Ares, hoping to create a powerful warrior. This warrior, Orcos, proved to be a failure in Ares' eyes and was disowned. However, the Furies decided to use him as their oath keeper. With Ares still in search for his warrior to help take over Olympus, Zeus hears of a prophecy foretelling his death at the hands of one of his sons, a marked warrior. Ares is then tasked to find and dispose of this threat. Ares discovers Deimos, a young Spartan who bore a birthmark
Is all of
all over his
this,
body,
besides
and
I
storms the city
assume
to capture him.
Kratos
During the
himself,
kidnapping,
is all of
Deimos'
it
brother,
accurate to
another young Spartan
mythology?
by the name of Kratos, attempts to stop the god, but he is struck down, leaving a scar over his right eye. Ares attempts to kill Kratos for this, but his sister, Athena, the goddess of war, convinces him to spare the boy. Deimos is then taken to the god of death, Thanatos, to prevent the prophecy and protect Zeus.
A lot of Os
Kratos,
names.
tortured by his inability to save his brother, vows to never fail like that again and tattoos a replica of Deimos' birthmark on himself in remembrance. Kratos' rage and pain remained with him as he became a leading member of the Spartan army, eventually marrying a Spartan woman named Lysandra, and the two have a daughter whom they name Calliope. Calliope unfortunately contracts a plague, which infects her skin and causes the Spartan authorities to decide for her to be thrown into a chasm and left to die. Kratos then sets off to find the cure for her disease, a mysterious element with the exceptional healing abilities called ambrosia. Unbeknownst to Kratos, the gods had a wager in which they selected various heroes whom they believed would be the first to obtain the ambrosia. Kratos was chosen by Ares, likely due to their prior run-in in which Kratos displayed his resilience and bravery. After battling the other gods' selected
even more
heroes,
detailed.
Kratos fights a climactic battle with an army of barbarians and their leader Ulrich, who was trying to retrieve the ambrosia to heal his own father. Kratos eventually bests Ulrich and captures the ambrosia, but at the cost of many of his men. Upon returning to Sparta, Kratos heals his daughter, and the king of Sparta bestows on him the title of captain. As captain of the Spartan army, Kratos leads his men to many victorious battles, often slaying scores of enemies with an increasing hunger for power, despite the wishes of his wife. Eventually, Kratos comes across a familiar enemy, the barbarian King Ulrich, who still blames Kratos for his father's death. Kratos and his army are no match for the
Makes sense why that duel meant even more now.
At the hands of Ulrich, calls out to Ares in desperation. Ares, seeing a candidate to overthrow Olympus, accepts Kratos' offer of loyalty and kills the barbarians in exchange. He then gives Kratos the Blades of Chaos, symbolizing his servitude to the god of war. Under Ares' loyalty, Kratos slays many innocents, razes villages, and spreads chaos in the name of him. Under Ares' influence, Kratos slowly loses his humanity with every battle fought for the god. Soon, Kratos is tasked to raid a village of Athena's followers due to Ares' jealousy of Athena, whom their father Zeus favored. There, he encounters an oracle who warns Kratos of dark things awaiting him inside the city's temple. Kratos ignores this warning and enters the temple, blindly slaughtering those inside.
She tried to help.
Afterwards, Kratos comes to realize that those inside the temple were none other than his beloved wife Lysandra and daughter Calliope. Ares reveals that he had transported them there secretly in order to sever Kratos' human ties and create the perfect warrior.
What an evil
Kratos leaves the
dude.
bodies of his family inside the temple to burn, and as he exits, the oracle curses him, binding the ashes of his wife and child to Kratos' skin, forcing him to wear another reminder of his failures and turning him into the ghost of Sparta.
This is quite a
Kratos then
character.
renounces his allegiance
I can't
to
even
Ares and
imagine
breaks his
coming
oath,
back
causing
from
the
something
Furies
like
to hunt
that.
him down and torture him with endless illusions. Kratos then finds himself trapped in an illusion of his former home in Sparta. Orcos appears before him and helps him break the illusion using Lysandra's necklace and ring. Orcos then convinces Kratos to seek out Aletheia, the oracle at Delphi. He finds the oracle captured, but is unable to prevent her from being mortally wounded. Before her death, she informs Kratos that the only way he can be free of his oath to Ares would be to slay the oath's enforcers, the Three Furies. Kratos returns to Orcos, who informs him of Ares' true intentions all along to use him to overthrow Zeus. With this knowledge, Kratos travels to Delos to slay the Furies. Upon his arrival, however, he is ambushed and captured by them, and they proceed to torture him in the prison of the damned. After 2 weeks of torture, one of the Furies leaves an opening for Kratos to exploit and escape his imprisonment. After various battles and illusions, Kratos is able to outsmart and outfight the Furies, slaying all 3 of them. After the death of the Furies,
Pretty
Kratos
impressive
returns to his
stuff.
home in Sparta, where he finds Orcos, who reveals to Kratos that while he had killed the Furies, they transferred Kratos' oath to him, keeping the bond with Ares intact. Orcos hands Kratos his blade and asks him for an honorable death in order to permanently end Ares' hold on them. Kratos complies, killing Orcos and burning his home with the former Oathkeeper's body still inside. No longer under servitude to Ares, Kratos dedicates his life to serving the gods of Olympus as their trusted warrior. After defeating an invading Persian army for the gods, Kratos appears before them to ask for his next task. Suddenly, however, he sees the sun fall from the sky, enveloping the world in darkness. Kratos follows the last trace of light he can see to the temple of Helios. After speaking to Athena, Kratos concludes that Helios had been captured, allowing the god of dreams Morpheus to entrance other gods into a deep sleep, allowing him to take control of
This is such rapid
Inside the
fire
temple,
info.
Ios, Helios' sister, tasks Kratos to awaken her brother's fire steeds in order to find him.
Following
In
it for the
return, she
most part,
promises
though.
to relieve Kratos of his nightmares, which haunt him in the form of a melody his daughter used to play on her flute. He does this, and the steeds
I think
take
it's a
him
good
to
thing I'll
Helios'
watch the other
location,
video first.
Underworld. There, he meets Charon, the ferryman on the river Styx, who ultimately denies Kratos passage as it is not his time. Kratos engages him, but is knocked unconscious and thrown into Tartarus, the darkest depths of the underworld where the
Tartar
Titans have been
sauce.
chained by Zeus. Upon waking, Kratos witnesses Atlas's chains broken and the Titan missing. Kratos fights his way through Tartarus, eventually climbing out to confront Charon once again. After defeating him, Kratos uses his ferry to follow Helios' light down the river Styx to a temple. There, Kratos sees his daughter upon the shore. He follows her inside, but instead finds Persephone, the queen of the underworld. Persephone reveals to Kratos that he can meet his daughter once again, and she is now residing in the Elysium Fields. Persephone tells Kratos that to see his daughter, he must make a sacrifice, to give up all of his weapons and powers given to him by the gods. Kratos does this, transferring his powers into the Forsaken Tree, and regains his humanity. He reunites with his daughter, but the reunion is interrupted by Persephone, who reveals her true intentions. She reveals that it was her who released Atlas, whom she tasked with destroying the pillar that holds the earth. She intends for this to kill everyone, including herself, to free her from her imprisonment by Hades as his wife. Kratos painfully makes the decision to give up his ability to see
classic
his daughter
kill
and
everyone
regains his
ploy.
weapons from the tree. Doing this, he once again becomes the ghost of Sparta, and against his daughter's wishes, takes off to stop Persephone. Kratos finds the queen at the base of the pillar, and she carries him to the top. There, the two engage in a final battle. During this battle, Persephone attempts to confuse Kratos and convince him to return to Elysium to be with his daughter. Kratos resists this, however, and Persephone orders Atlas to take care of him. Atlas does not get this chance, however, as Kratos chains the Titan to the ceiling of the underworld and returns to Persephone, besting her in battle and killing her.
Can't wait
Body
to
explodes,
experience this
destroying the pillar
combat.
and
Looks
leaving
cool.
Atlas as the only thing holding the world together. Atlas, though defeated, taunts Kratos as he remains a slave to the gods. Kratos accepts this fate as he can only hope that serving the gods will cause them to one day free him from his nightmares. Atlas then predicts to Kratos that they will meet again before Kratos leaves to return Helios to the sky. Weak, and now knowing that his sins will never allow him to see his daughter again, Kratos falls from the chariot, landing on a cliff overlooking the Aegean Sea. Sometime after waking, Kratos is sent into the sea to kill a Hydra and return peace to the waters. After doing so, he is approached by Athena, who asks Kratos to save her city, Athens,
Thing looks
from her brother
massive.
Ares, whose army is currently advancing. Kratos, seeing an opportunity to get revenge on Ares, agrees on the condition that the gods free him of his nightmares once and for all, as well as offer him a chance at redemption. Kratos enters Athens to find the town's oracle, who tells him that in order for a mortal to defeat a god, he must seek the power of Pandora's box, which is locked inside a temple constructed on the back of the Titan Kronos, who Zeus cursed to wander the desert of
I really
lost
like the
souls
look
for
of that
eternity.
guy.
Kratos makes his way to the temple, encountering a mysterious gravedigger on the way. Inside the temple, Kratos solves several puzzles in order to find Pandora's box. However, Ares senses this and throws a pillar from Athens, impaling Kratos and killing him. Ares then arrives and steals the box as Kratos dies and returns to the underworld. However, with help from the gravedigger, who refers to Kratos as my child, he is able to climb from Hades and return to Athens.
What a
There,
nice
he
guy.
opens Pandora's box and gains the power to confront Ares. After a battle, Ares tortures Kratos by forcing him to relive his family's death at his hands. Kratos resists this, however, and Ares is forced to strip the Blades of Chaos from Kratos' arms and kills the illusions of his family in front of him. Freed from the illusion, Kratos finds a nearby sword being used as an ornamental bridge and uses it to kill the god of war. The gods praise
Love
Kratos
it.
for killing the rebelling Ares. Kratos then asks Athena to finally free him of his nightmares. Athena then finally reveals to Kratos that while she can forgive his sins, his nightmares will stay with him forever. Kratos, feeling abandoned by the gods, climbs back to the cliffs overlooking the Aegean Sea, and feeling death as his only escape, throws himself off. However, Athena stops him at the
This
bottom,
really is
claiming
a
that there
pretty
now an empty
mature
throne above
storyline
Olympus.
for a video
Kratos then
game.
enters a portal and claims his throne as the new god of war. Still haunted by his memories,
Especially
Kratos
back when it
decides
was
to explore his
released.
past against Athena's wishes. He makes his way to the Temple of Poseidon in Atlantis. Poseidon attempts to stop Kratos, but he defeats his defenses and reaches the city. There, Kratos finds, much to his surprise, his mother, Callisto, dying on the ground. She reveals to him that his father is the one who brought her there, and that his brother Deimos is still alive but does not have much time. Before dying, she tells Kratos to seek out his brother in Sparta. Kratos then departs
Very
Atlantis, but not
interesting
before
knowing now
encountering the
who his
Titan
father
Pharaoh,
is.
whom he frees, destroying the city in a flood. Kratos returns to Sparta, but on his way encounters and kills Thanatos' daughter, Erinyes. Upon his arrival to the city, he is praised by its inhabitants, led by a young Spartan who gives Kratos his arms from when he was the commander of the Spartan army. Kratos goes to the Temple of Ares, and after encountering a spirit-like vision of his younger self, he learns that he must return to Atlantis to find Death's domain. Upon returning, however, Kratos is stopped by a statue of Poseidon, inhabited by the god, who warns him that he will pay for sinking the kingdom of Atlantis. Kratos avoids the statue and makes his way through the ruins of the city, eventually coming across the gravedigger once again, who cryptically warns Kratos not to alienate the gods. Kratos then finds the gateway to Death's domain. Inside, Kratos finds and frees his brother, who becomes enraged at him for seemingly forgetting about him for all this time. Thanatos arrives and intervenes, capturing Deimos and bringing him to the same cliff Kratos attempted to kill himself from. Kratos saves his brother, and
Oh, I
the
don't
two
think the other
reconcile.
video
Kratos
mentioned
gives
that.
Deimos his arms, and
Maybe
the
it
two
did.
fight Thanatos together. During the battle, Thanatos kills Deimos, and Kratos avenges his brother by
This is a
finally
lot of
killing the god
information.
Death. A broken Kratos then carries his brother up the mountain, where the gravedigger has prepared a grave for him. Kratos ponders what he has become, and the gravedigger answers, Death, the destroyer of worlds. Athena appears before
Such
him
an
and attempts
epic
to elevate
name.
him to a full god. Kratos stops her, however, and returns to Olympus, claiming that the gods will pay for what they have done to Kratos and his family. As he leaves, Athena mythically refers to him as brother. The gravedigger then buries Callisto next to Deimos and proclaims upon a third grave that now only one remains, as Kratos returns to his throne and plans his next move against the gods, leading his Spartan army to conquer Greece.
Look at that
After
rage.
launching this attack, Athena pleads with Kratos to stop. He claims to owe her nothing and turns his back on her to assist his army in the town of Rhodes. There, he spots an eagle, whom he believes to be Athena in disguise, whom robs him of his godly abilities, and instead infuses them into the Colossus of Rhodes, who comes to life and tries to kill Kratos. Zeus arrives and offers Kratos the Blade of Olympus, which he once used to win the great war between the gods and the Titans. Zeus urges Kratos to infuse the blades with his remaining godly powers, which renders him mortal once again, but allows him to destroy the Colossus from the inside.
Pretty high
Upon doing this,
stakes.
however, Kratos is crushed by the Colossus' severed hand. Determining that he must retrieve the Blade of Olympus to get his immortality back, he slowly makes his way over to it, only to be stopped by Zeus, who reveals himself to be the eagle that stole Kratos' power, in an attempt to kill him to stop him from overthrowing Zeus as he did with Ares. Zeus then stabs Kratos, killing him. While he is being
Messed
dragged
up.
into the underworld once more, the mother of the Titans, Gaia, saves him and reveals that
feel like
Kronos,
I'm
Zeus's
getting
father,
this
ate all of
story-
his children in an attempt to stop the prophecy that he would die. at the
Or
hands of
understanding
one of his
pretty much
sons.
everything.
Zeus's mother, however, hid him on an island that was actually Gaia. Gaia raised the boy, but he grew vengeful and eventually sought to defeat the Titans, which he did by using the Blade of Olympus. Gaia offers to help Kratos exact revenge on the King of Olympus. Gaia gives Kratos the magical horse Pegasus, and he escapes the underworld to find the Sisters of Fate in order to change his past and kill Zeus. Kratos flies to the island of creation, and after besting several powerful foes, including
What a cool
Ulrich,
shot.
he comes across Icarus, whom he strips of his wings, plummeting below the earth and landing upon Atlas. Originally refusing to help Kratos, still holding begrudgment over his imprisonment at the Spartans' hands, Atlas is eventually persuaded to help him kill Zeus. Atlas helps Kratos return to the surface, where he awakens the Phoenix and flies to the Temple of the Fates to meet the sisters. There, he expresses his wishes, but the sisters deny him passage. Kratos then confronts the youngest sisters, Lachesis and Atropos, who attempt to take him back to his battle with Ares and force him to die by the god's hand in the past. He avoids this effort and traps the sisters in a mirror, then destroying it to seal them away for eternity. Kratos then makes his way to the eldest sister, Clotho, who operates the Loom of Fate. Kratos kills the final sister and takes control of the loom to change his fate.
The
He
worst
turns the thread of
sister,
fate
if you
back
ask
to his
me.
death at the hands of Zeus and saves his past self by reclaiming the Blade of Olympus before Zeus has a chance to. The two then engage in a battle until Zeus stuns Kratos with a lightning storm. Kratos plays possum and pins Zeus before driving the Blade of Olympus into the god's chest. Before he can kill him, however, Athena appears and intervenes to protect Olympus. Zeus attempts to escape, Kratos lunges at him with the blade, and Athena sacrifices herself by jumping in front of it.
Get a
saving
little
her
more
father.
context there
Kratos
now.
asks Athena why she would do this, and she reveals that she did it to allow Zeus to stop the cycle of sons killing their fathers, finally revealing that Kratos is in fact a son of Zeus. Vowing to destroy Olympus, Kratos returns to the loom and turns back time all the way to the Great War. He calls out to Gaia and they return to Kratos' time, where an injured Zeus is calling on his fellow gods to kill Kratos. The Titan army, led by Kratos, then storm Olympus with the intent to win the Great War once and for all. The Titans and gods wage a very intense and bloody battle as Poseidon begins to take on Gaia. Kratos draws him into Gaia's grasp and is able to weaken him, eventually knocking him onto a platform and beating him before gouging his eyes out and snapping his neck, killing him and flooding
my
the entire world.
gosh.
Kratos and the Titans then make it to the top
This is
of
definitely
Olympus
making
and
me
confront
even
Zeus,
more
who,
hyped to get into the
anticipating their arrival,
2018
hits them
game.
with a blast of lightning, damages Gaia, and knocks her and Kratos off the mountain. Attempting to hang on, Kratos is then betrayed by Gaia, who lets him fall as he is no longer a use to them now that they have reached Zeus's throne. After falling once again to his death, Kratos makes his way through the river Styx, lamenting that he was used as a pawn by both the gods and the Titans. He then reunites with a reformed Athena, who is willing to help Kratos from her new level of existence. He then realizes the goal of his final quest, extinguishing the flame of Olympus in order to finally defeat Zeus. To do this, however, he must find Pandora, the child of Pandora's box's namesake. Kratos makes his way through Hades and eventually finds Hades' palace, and the dead body of Persephone. Hades arrives and the two battle before Kratos defeats the god, sealing his soul into his own weapons. Kratos then escapes Hades through a gate and encounters Helios, whose head Kratos proceeds to rip off. He then encounters Hermes, who he kills, and later his own half-brother Hercules, whom he also kills. Kratos meets
Oh,
with
they didn't
Aphrodite and her
mention
husband
that
Hephaestus
before.
in order to find their daughter Pandora.
Quite a half-brother to
Hephaestus
have.
refuses to lead Kratos to her, however, and reveals that after Kratos opened Pandora's box, Zeus became overcome with fear and forced Hephaestus to reveal to the creation of the key of the box, which later took on a life of its own as a girl whom he named Pandora. Zeus then took Pandora and banished Hephaestus. Kratos urges Hephaestus, who tasks him with retrieving the Omphalos stone in order to make a weapon to allow Kratos to find Pandora. In his attempt to find the stone, Kratos comes across Kronos, who assumes he has tried to kill Gaia and attacks him. Kratos fights Kronos and eventually frees the temple from the Titan's body before he eats Kratos. Inside his stomach, Kratos retrieves the Omphalos stone and cuts his way out and kills Kronos once and for all. Kratos confronts Hephaestus, who reveals that he was trying to send him on a suicide mission. Hephaestus attempts to feign innocence before trying to kill Kratos instead. Kratos shakes this off and kills him by impaling him on his own anvil.
Can't trust
before heading off to
anybody in
retrieve
this
Pandora.
world.
Kratos' quest takes him to the gardens of Olympus, where he finds Hera, the wife of Zeus, drunken and belligerent. After making his way through the gardens, Hera confronts Kratos once again, insulting Pandora and causing Kratos to lash out and snap her neck, causing all plant life to die.
Kratos'
Kratos
body
makes it to the
count is
labyrinth
unreal.
and finds Daedalus, the labyrinth's architect. Trapped inside, Daedalus claims that Zeus promised him that he would have his son Icarus back once he completed the labyrinth. Kratos reveals that Icarus was in fact dead before activating a trap and killing the architect. Inside the labyrinth, Kratos finds Pandora and takes her with him. In the flame of Olympus' chamber, Kratos raises the labyrinth to access Pandora's box. However, Kratos refuses to let Pandora sacrifice her life, as he does not want to cause her death as he did his own daughters. She chooses to embrace her fate, however, and breaks free, only to be stopped by Zeus. Zeus mocks Kratos for showing care for Pandora as if she was his own.
It's like the scariest looking Zeus I've seen.
Once again. During the battle, Pandora attempts to run into the flame in order to put it out before Kratos grabs her to stop her. Pandora pleads with Kratos to let her seal her fate, and Zeus provokes him by telling him not to fail Pandora like he did his own family. Kratos reluctantly lets her go, and the flame of Olympus is extinguished. In the wake, Kratos opens Pandora's box once again, only to find that it is now empty. Zeus mocks his son once again, and the two meet outside.
That was quite the
and gaze upon
twist
destruction
in the
Kratos
first
has
video.
caused. The two are interrupted by Gaia, however, and she tries to kill them both. The two then enter a wound in Gaia's chest and fight beside her heart, draining the life out of it. Kratos, powered by the heart of Gaia, then impales Zeus into it with the blade of Olympus, finally killing both Gaia and his father Zeus. Awakening upon a broken Earth, Kratos finds Zeus's body and retrieves the blade. However, as he tries to leave, Zeus's spirit attacks Kratos and drains him of his anger and willpower, replacing it with fear and loss, the forces that plagued his father. Trapped in his psyche and once again being tortured by his memories, the spirit of Pandora appears and helps Kratos abolish these torments through hope. Kratos returns to the physical world and forces Zeus's spirit back into his body.
I feel like
Kratos
that
then
makes
charges
it
him and
a
beats
little
him to
bit
death with
more
his bare hands, finally
meaningful
killing him and
than
destroying
how they
Olympus
described
for
it in the
good.
first video.
Afterwards, Athena appears once more and congratulates Kratos, asking him to turn over the power he found inside Pandora's box so she could finally give it to mankind. Kratos laments that the world is destroyed, and anything she would have to give would be useless. More so, the box was empty, and Kratos believed Pandora had died in vain, simply another casualty in his quest for vengeance. Athena reveals to Kratos that when the evils of the Titans were first sealed into the box, she placed the most powerful weapon in the world beside them to counteract them, the power of hope. Athena had initially believed that when Kratos opened the box for the first time, all of its evils had transferred unto him, and hope was lost, when in actuality the evils went to the gods on Olympus, and hope was buried deep in Kratos under his pains. Only upon forgiving himself was the power able to
What
release
kind
inside
of
him.
line?
Kratos, realizing he has nothing left to live for, impales himself with the blade of Olympus, freeing the power of hope into the mortal world. Athena is angered by this and tells Kratos that she is disappointed, to which he responds with a final laugh before she removes the blade, leaving him to die. Sometime later, we see the mural where Kratos' body once was, now abandoned, with nothing but a trail of blood leading to the great sea that now enveloped the world.
Man, what an epic story. I cannot wait to play the 2018 game. All right, well, those are pretty good recaps. Feel like I've got a good grasp on everything that led up to the 2018 game, which was way more than I was expecting. That's a pretty expansive story, so much covered. I can't even imagine what gods are left at this point. Seems like pretty much everybody died at that point, but I guess when you have people living on through the ghost world or the underworld, whatever it is, you can still bring a lot of those characters back. And so hopefully you enjoyed watching along with me for these recap videos, and hopefully you enjoy watching along with me as I play the 2018 game, and then of course eventually get into Ragnarok as well. But if you did enjoy, definitely consider leaving a thumbs up. But until the next one, look forward to seeing you all later. Peace.